What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Big Thing. It's Wednesday. There's a lot to talk about. I can do a social media reaction, quick thoughts on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I put my ad to the theater last night. Superman has been cast. There's some news on the Daisy Ridley movie. Does it tie in? Is it a new saga? What is it? Kathleen Kennedy talks a little bit about that. Some new Ahsoka news. There's a gallery series on The Mandalorian. James Bond. Idris Elba said, I was pretty turned off about it after all the backlash, and I don't care anymore. I'm losing interest, and I don't blame him. So we'll talk about that and more on today's show. And if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, Katie Sackhoff's podcast is officially launched. She launched it today on her YouTube channel, Blah, Blah, Blah with Katie Sackhoff. It is on the channel now, and we're going to be going to San Diego Comic-Con July 22nd, 4 to 6 p.m. The tickets are almost sold out. There's about 20 tickets left for the live in person. However, you can see the live stream, and you can also, Katie's doing this whole car ride there, and you can be in the car with her on the phone if you or your computer, wherever you watch your live streams. But you got to go to blahblahblahkatie.com and get those tickets. But those are going quick as well. All right, I got Steph Sabraw here, man. We're going to talk about some stuff. So enjoy it. Let's do it. Big thing. Here we go. What up, everybody? Welcome back. It's The Big Thing, Wednesday. I was saying 2023, the year of our Lord. More people need to say that. Why don't we just do that
Dear
one?
Jesus Christ.
Hi, Steph.
Hey.
How are you?
4 pound, 8 ounce.
What's that?
It's me butchering the prayer in Talladega Nights.
Okay. You know, I've seen that movie, I think, once.
It's so
You love
your
it?
humor, I feel. No?
Maybe. I mean, I like silly Will Ferrell stuff for sure. I think it's maybe because it's not a big NASCAR guy.
Oh, neither am I.
Okay, so
That's why I think it's funny.
I have to watch it again.
You do.
It was a long time ago, and I remember Anchorman I love, and when I saw it the first time, thought it was okay. And it's so funny because I am in the minority right now, and I will talk very briefly about this because the review embargo lifts soon, but Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Thought it was fine.
Fine.
Roxy would have thrown me in jail for what she's like, really? I loved it. And I was like, holy crap.
Like Maverick level?
It's not Maverick level.
But for her.
Maybe. I think that for me, I don't know. I have to let her answer that question. My thing with the movie, as I said in the out of the theater, is that I think it's definitely a part one. It's a part one. So I could very well like it way better after I see part two.
Right.
Because it combines. My biggest issue, like if you're going there for the stunts and the action and just like summer blockbuster movie, it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
Okay.
10 out of 10.
Great.
And the funny thing is, I was thinking about it last night. I like it better than The Flash. I like it better than what's the other one? Indiana Jones.
Okay.
No, I don't know yet. It's so funny because I said that my after reviewing things in my head, after sitting with it a little bit too, I don't know. Because the ending of The Flash isn't great, but I like the movie. I really like the movie a lot. I don't give a shit what people say. It's a good movie. But this movie is a really good movie, but I think that I expect more in a Mission Impossible. I expect more clever.
Yeah.
I expect the missions to be cooler. And it's very spectacle to me. And someone was like, well, you felt that way about Fallout. Hell no, I didn't.
Okay.
Fallout I thought was pretty clever. There's a couple times I'm like, is it like there is a scene that is insane and it's so much action, but I felt like I just saw this scene in Fast and Furious, the most recent one.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I will say this: Haley Atwell is next level hot.
Oh, really?
Holy crap!
I don't even know if I know what she looks like.
Yeah, Peggy Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Next level hot. She's getting.
I love her. Does she have a British accent in it?
Yes, next level.
That will get me.
Next level. And I was like, because Roxy was like, really? She's like, I would think you would like Rebecca Ferguson more. I think Rebecca Ferguson is very classy and a great actress, but no, Haley Atwell is just like, wow. And like, Jennifer Garner has this thing too, where like wine,
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. There are people that sometimes just look hotter as they
Yeah.
age. And
Yeah.
I want that power.
Well, I never saw it. It was funny because when I was younger and Jennifer Garner, I was like, yeah, okay. And then as her career progressed, I was like, whoa. And then I saw her once. I was going to, I don't know, we were some beach with my family and we're going to some coffee shop. And she was just there with her kids. But just a stunning woman.
Yeah.
Stunning woman. But Haley Atwell, whew, my goodness. She's great in the movie. But
I can't wait to see it. What do you think about, I feel like there's this new thing where there's all these part 1s and part 2s of like Dune, Across the Spider-Verse is like that, missions like that.
Yeah, I mean it depends. Like is it necessary? Should be the first question. For Spider-Verse, I think it's necessary. It's a 3-parter. Although you heard what's going on with that, right?
Oh yeah, the animators, right?
Well, the animators says there's some shit going down behind the scenes. That's part 1. Part 2 is that they're pushing. It's supposed to come out in March of 2024. Now, someone said this is a fake account that posted this, but someone said it was coming out now in 2026. And that's a significant jump. So I don't know how true that is.
That'd be crazy.
But it's getting pushed because of all the drama plus the strikes and all that stuff. But as far as your question goes, I think that if it's relevant, right? Like Dune makes sense.
Yes.
Because Dune is a very, very long book. And it can be split into 2 parts. Now, they shouldn't do what they did with like The Hobbit and turn it into 3 books or 3 movies. That's unnecessary. But as far as Mission Impossible, I don't know. I got to see the second half of it. They left it open, and again, the action is next level, top notch, amazing. It's just if I was just going there for that, I would be like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. I like when it's really those mission like the certain things that they have to set up. So like, oh, how do they think about that? How clever that is. I love that part of Mission Impossible, and it was just that part of it was just okay. And the main like kind of thing they're going up against, I was just like, yeah, this isn't a spoiler or anything you can't talk about because they're talking about it in articles. It's AI again, right? And everybody's doing AI now because everyone's scared of AI. And to be fair to them, they set it up way before I think the whole big AI craze started. But like, it's just like, I don't know. It seems far fetched, but maybe it isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it is. I have to see the movie,
Yeah.
but I feel like anything's possible.
It's true.
I feel like a conspiracy theorist when I think about it.
I don't think you're the only one.
Right?
I don't think you're the only one.
It's the first time where I'm like, wow, I'm really going down that rabbit hole with it.
It's true. Yeah, because it's nuts because we don't really know about it. And you look, I mean, it is when you put in. If I put Steph Sabraw sitting on a beach with a pina colada, with a Star Wars shirt on, and put a picture of you, and they can generate that and do that picture. That's crazy.
Crazy.
And it can do it within minutes. And I told I don't remember. I think it was Roxy. I can't remember who I told on the air, but I wanted to do this experiment, so I put in something about my family and nothing about what they do or anything too, but they wrote that Vivian was 11 or 12 years old and she wanted to be an actress and follow in my footsteps. And she also had a big personality, and that my youngest daughter is more reserved and not, and it was like spot on. And I don't have a lot of public information about my kids, like at all, minus the stuff that I talk about on this show, like this and other things. And it's like, it took 5 minutes for, and like, that's the kind of stuff I guess in Mission Impossible it is. It's like when the AI has access to everything, every computer, details, right? And it's like, and it's able to generate and go, hold on, let me think. Because it takes us, we got to Google it, we got to look, and then we'll come back with the information.
Right.
As opposed to when an AI is thinking, it's going, wait, access, spit it out.
This is why you asked a while ago what would be your superpower.
Yeah.
And there's this movie, I think on Disney Channel back in the day, where this guy got computer plugs stuck like in his head and it electrocuted him, but he basically had the power of a computer.
I love that. You want that?
I wanted that because that's basically what AI does.
Yeah.
They can scan information. Anything.
Yeah.
Anything. He can just read and it's already plugged in.
Yeah.
He's just a centerfold.
I still think Roxy's a lunatic to think that the power I want is evil.
Yeah, it's not evil.
It's not evil. It's just any power can be used for evil.
Right.
any power. It's like, well, if I said, well, I want super strength, she wouldn't say that would be evil. What if I super strength to run around and bash people's skulls in or cars in while they were in it? Well, then that's evil.
Right.
But if it's like a matter of like whatever power you have, it's like, it's not a matter of like, well, my power is to convince Steph to jump on the table and bark. No, it's a matter of in conversation. We're talking and I'm like, do you want to jump on the table and bark? You're like, no. And I'm, well, why? Well, because we had a conversation about it. And then it's like basically what we're just talking about. Accessing the right information.
Right.
Like if like I was like, okay, well, I want to get Steph to get me a coffee right now. Go get me a coffee. Like, no, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, we're just taping a show.
Right.
And I'd be like, but if I said to you, hey, I'm really thirsty, I'm dying right now, would you do me a favor? Could you do that for me? And I'll give you $5 to get yourself something as well too. I'm sorry, I'm so stressed out. The type of person you are, you'd probably like, okay,
of course.
It's not a manipulation if I was really thirsty.
Yeah.
And it's a manipulation if I just want to see if I can get you to do it.
Right.
Right. And it's like, but it's that thing. And so imagine you can walk in and you're like, okay, I'm going to be able to use the words to get myself a meeting with Putin and not get killed and then tell him to resign.
Right.
But I'm going to have to do it. It's not hypnotizing him. It's having the right words in conversation. You've been on first dates before and you're like, shit, if I would have said that instead of that, this date would have went better.
Right.
But I said the wrong fucking thing.
Right. Words can be taken.
That's all I'm saying. Like the power of words, knowing the right things to say, not manipulation, just being able to access the right information.
No, that seriously has caused fights in my lifetime where I'm like, but why'd you say that that way? And they're like, but I didn't mean that. I'm like, but you said it.
But you said it that
so
way.
So now it's done.
But the same way in comedy, if you say things with a particular, like someone can say something that would piss you off, but if someone said something in a different tone, comedically, it wouldn't piss you off. And that's what is so fascinating to me. That's always what I talked about within the power of words. It's like, yes, you can use anything for evil purposes or manipulation of power purposes, but to be able to actually say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go into this meeting and I want to pitch I have a show that I think's really good, right? And but I got to know the right words to say, because if I don't, they're going to hear it 1,000 different times. It's like, well, yeah, but it was the way that he pitched it. It was the things that he said. It wasn't like magical powers by my shows. No, I just accessed the right words.
Right.
In the way, why are certain, and Roxy's not wrong, which is like, yeah, but that's what dictators can do and other people. Well, yeah, because they're using it for that purpose. They're using it for that purpose to be able to, because they're good at the power of words. And there's certain people who are like, look at Obama. Obama, not a dictator, but as far as he was a really good speaker and he knew to access words. And what had happened? It got him elected. That's all it is. It's just being able to have that power of words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in my sketch writing class.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that I'm really in that zone where you're being vulnerable with jokes and things. And anyone can take it out of context. Sure. And I had one joke that I didn't even think it was towing the line at all, like not even towing the line, but because we just read them plain, we can't pitch it first. You can't understand that my character is supposed to be cringe, so she says something that way, and then it's like, even then I don't even want to explain it to you guys, sure. It's so I feel that I'm like, I wish you guys could have just known what I meant. I was trying to say.
And that's my overall point. But anyway, this is welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
And we have a lot to talk about. The first thing I actually wanted to bring up is this story about another comment that Kathleen Kennedy said. She talked about that the new Star Wars movie is going to be a next chapter.
I want her to have a podcast that's called All Facts.
All Facts.
With Kathleen.
It's like, yeah. No,
straight shooting.
I ain't going there. All right, Kathleen Kennedy. She says that the next Star Wars is a new chapter. This is from Garth Franklin over at Dark Horizons. The Skywalker saga came to a close with Star Wars Rise of Skywalker in 2019, but the franchise is set to continue with several new films. The first of these will be the new Jedi Order, and it is a film set 15 years later than the sequel trilogy as it follows Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order. Charmin Obaid-Chinoy will direct the film by a script by Stephen Knight, with the movie looking to likely begin filming in spring 2024 ahead of a 2026 release in May. Speaking with Total Film during the launch of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Kathleen Kennedy said the movie will be all about starting the next chapter of the franchise. Kennedy says, I think what's always great about Star Wars is that it's a big galaxy and we're coming off what was a major war with the First Order, and now Rey has made a promise to Luke, and that's really the core of where we're going and what the story will be. I think it offers just tremendous opportunity to introduce new characters and start with something fresh, because we culminated with what George Lucas was creating, and now we take all of that and we move it to the next chapter. Kennedy also teased that the film will have connections to one of the other Star Wars films in development right now, on the other timeline. She says it's James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie, which is set 25,000 years before the Skywalker saga. She said it was something that James Mangold immediately sparked to, and I think it's a really nice compliment to do what we're doing with the future with Rey. And then understanding a bit more where this came from, because it will be the heart of creating the new Jedi Order. To get a real sense of what might have become with the Dawn of the Jedi would be pretty cool. And then there's they talk about the next one in December 18, 2026, and then Ahsoka's coming out in August. Okay, so Steph, this to me is interesting, and like anytime we've talked about Kathleen Kennedy recently, it's been like you just said, all right, so is it going to stick? Is this horse crap? Like, let's be fair to her here. This sounds like the direction they should be going with Rey.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but let's not do this. This is, and I don't think they will, but let's not do this. Okay, we're building out the Jedi Order, and she promised it, but there's one student who takes the Jedi Order down, and then there's no more Jedi left, and there's only one. Rey gets killed, and then there's this new Jedi that is the last of the Jedi. It's like, please no, just make the freaking Jedi. They're around. They're clear. They have to fight off some of the ones who are going to the dark side. It's how it is, and she's rebuilding it because she promised Luke that she would. Don't make one stinking Jedi again running around the place. It's like, let's see what the Jedi are like when they're in power.
Yeah, I completely agree. It makes sense. I like the pitch, obviously. Mm-hmm. This is really fun, and I think Rey's a good character to do this and to move it forward. But like you said, to move it forward. Because a lot of people's criticism with the sequel trilogy, and rightfully so, is that you're just repeating the same blueprint that we got, right? And so it's you have the whole galaxy. You should expand the storylines. There's so much to be told.
Well, it's also what I like what she said about we're going to have new characters, because there's so much you don't want to rely on Rey the whole time.
No.
You want to be able to, because what they should be doing if you want to franchise this era of Star Wars is you've got to give me some new characters that I'm going to care about. And they did it somewhat. Like, not everybody loves Poe, Rey, and Finn, right? Mm-hmm. They got to get those characters that the Leias, the Lukes, the Hans. They got to get people like. I'm not saying that those characters don't have their audiences. They clearly do. But that kind of universal love that all the Star Wars fans have, that every Star Wars fan and every political view Star Wars fan can enjoy, right? It's not an easy task. No. That is an almost impossible task. But if they can do it and they can find a new character inside of this and build, that's how you kind of restore in the way that Mandalorians, at least season 1 and season 2 did.
Yeah, I think it'll be really to that point of making Rey not the central main character. If she is more like Yoda's a main character, right? But he's only in a few scenes.
Right.
And I think if she's kind of that wisdom that is my favorite parts of the original trilogy, that could be really cool.
I think
because
so too.
I feel like those parts were kind of missing in the sequel trilogy, those deep conversations, those philosophical conversations 100%, about the Force.
100%. A lot of that was missing, and I think that happens a lot of times with big. I just had this whole long conversation with Alonzo Duralde, who I love, and we were talking about that very thing. It's just that there's this lack of understanding that what the audience really wants, that it doesn't just need, if it's a big blockbuster $200 million movie, that it just has to be the big CGI like spectacle, and you can dive into those conversations. Like, you look at, like, I think Inception did that very well. It's a big blockbuster movie that had those types of conversations, and trust the audience, they can get it.
Right.
They can get it. It's like, there are some times that you're going to go, well, they're going to find it boring, but there's like Andor, right? Which that's this and that. It's like there's some people who just don't want to see that in Star Wars, and then there's people like us who do.
Yeah.
But there's also people that you can make it really exciting, a lot of action, but still have those kind of conversations that you're talking about. And I hope that they do that. I mean, I hope that Stephen Knight, who's writing this, is able to do that. But I like the direction. But let's also talk about the fact, what do you think about how it's going to tie into a movie that takes place 25,000 years before with Mangold's film?
I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, unless they just address going back to the first principles he talked about, making those 10 commandments of the Force.
Right.
Maybe they bring that back because Luke burned the books, so maybe they go to that.
But they didn't know.
Oh, they didn't actually burn the books.
No, remember she had him.
She took them.
She took him. She took him.
Oh yeah, so I guess that's how you could tie it in. She took them, and maybe in those books she found
that's tied back to the movie.
Right.
I think that's interesting. I do.
Yeah.
I think so. Like this interview that she gave, it's the first time in a while I'm like, wait a minute. She says this. I'm like, this sounds pretty great. This sounds
right.
Like
I forgot that.
If they execute it the right way. But I think it sounds pretty great. I think it sounds, if they can tie it in and they make like, okay, look, so we saw this movie in 2025 or 2026 in March, and it's a brief scene or it's a couple things where it's just tied into what happened when they first discovered it back 25,000 years ago. Like, well, that sounds interesting. It's almost like when Obi-Wan is talking to Luke in episode 4 about the Clone Wars. And you're like, what the hell's a Clone War?
Right.
And then you finally get to see him. That would be interesting if they set that up and you're like, oh, that, like going into what you just talked about, that conversation that they could have about the Force. And you're like, whoa, I wonder what that looks like. Well, don't worry. In December, you're going to see some of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. And they bring up the great blah, blah, blah who did this. And then we get to see the great blah, blah, blah. So that would be very, very interesting.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't know. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, right. It's fingers crossed. I don't know. It's hard to have complete faith in it at the moment.
Yeah, but it sounds good.
It sounds fun. All right, you know, also sounds good. AG1, baby. Athletic Greens, I'll tell you that. And get yourself a RUMPL blanket. I'm going to tell you about both of them right now. Our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it every day. I love it. And I gave it a try, honestly, because Brett Sheridan told me to. And I'm glad that he did because it's so good. I love it. It tastes good too. And I'm not a big vitamin person. I know that. You know that at this point. But to take them all in one shot, put it in a water bottle, shake it up, that's it. I drink AG1 before my coffee. And I take it. It gives me a little boost of energy. And then I'm ready to go. And it makes me feel unstoppable. I am ready for the day. I love it. It's really great because I'm telling you, it was very hard for me. Everyone's like, you got to take this vitamin, you got to take that, you got to do supplements. No, thank you. Give me one. Everything. One shot, done. And it tastes good. Might look green, hence AG1. Tastes yummy. I'm always looking for life upgrades, which is why I've come to love and trust AG1. It's why so many of you trust AG1. That's why I get notes all the time. You guys are trying it. Just did it. Love it. Re-upped. Doing it again. I keep getting it over and over and over, and that's why they've been so associated with this show. It's delivered to you every month. It's been very easy, super easy to make it a daily habit for me. And get those travel packs. I'm going to be going on the road soon, and I'll be taking that with me. If you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. You have to go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. That's drinkag1.com/bigthing. I told you. RUMPL's the best. I keep getting DMs and I keep getting people who have been letting me know that they've gotten RUMPL because of this show, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad we're spreading the word. I really am. RUMPL's great, and they're on a mission to introduce the world to better blankets, and they're doing it. Durable, sustainable, and they're built to last. They recycle over 5 million plastic water bottles a year. They're B Corp certified, climate neutral, and they donate 1% of all their sales to environmental causes. I love RUMPL, and I've told you guys many times over, whether you're going to be at a picnic or you're going to go camping or you're just going to snuggle on a couch, they have all types of blankets. It's amazing. They have the original puffy blanket, which is their #1 bestseller. They have over 1 million sold. They have 135 unique designs, and there's a blanket for everyone. People are always looking for some new blankets, and sometimes when you buy blankets, they don't last very long. They're not durable. These things last, and they last for a while. They're amazing. They're not just for the outdoors, as I mentioned. Really good for just snuggling up and watching a movie. I do it all the time. For listeners, go to rumpl.com/thebigthing and use that code, thebigthing, at checkout. Get 10% off your first order. RUMPL.com/thebigthing, code thebigthing. I ain't lying to you. People have been signing up to AG1. People have been getting themselves their Rumpel blankets, and I've been getting a lot of positive responses on it. And as I was talking about with Chris Van Vliet, you help out the show tremendously when you do. People are like, oh, how can I help out the show? Get one of those sponsors and help yourself out. Try it. Do it. It's super convenient. It helps you out. It makes you get a good energy, and then you can go and you can snuggle up with somebody with a nice blanket. You can go to a picnic. You do all that stuff. So we're giving you options, and we hope that you take them. Mm-hmm. All right. Next one. All right, Steph, speaking of Andor, Diego Luna says he's already feeling melancholic about Andor coming to an end. And then they were talking about a Best Actor nomination possibility, and this is from Star Wars Newsnet. Our buddy Miguel Fernandez, who's the best. In a new interview with Associated Press, Diego Luna is already dreading the release of the final season of Andor, even if the show has 2 months left of shooting. As he continues to push for a nomination in the Best Actor category at the upcoming Emmys, the actor also took the chance to speak about the lack of Latino nominations over the past few decades, a curse that is pretty much meant to be broken this year. Luna, actor and executive producer on Andor, has never been shy about praising his collaboration with Tony Gilroy and the rest of his team, and he explained to the Associated Press he's not looking forward to saying goodbye. Diego Luna says, I am very excited filming all the time. I feel that we are approaching the end, and therefore the process is lived with a certain melancholy. There is also an inevitable part of saying how sad it is to leave this team, to leave this dynamic, to leave this time living here. Diego Luna is one of 4 actors that are likely to get the nomination. Also includes Pedro Pascal for Last of Us, Selena Gomez, Only Murders in the Building, Jenna Ortega for Wednesday. Luna spoke about the lack of nominations for Latino actors in the lead category and how we could be on the verge of a huge change. And he says, what makes me sad is the fact that the last nomination for a Latino actor in this category was so many years ago. It's absurd knowing the number of interesting stories that have been told, the number of actors who have done memorable jobs, but it's also exciting to know that I'm not the only one, and it makes me think that good things are coming for people like me who come from where I come from. Last but not least, Luna also addressed the elephant in the room for the second season of Andor. During the first batch of 12 episodes, we're introduced to a vast array of characters, most of whom are not in what now is billed of the retroactive series finale, 2016's Rogue One. That means a new season will have to bring some finality to their arcs, and while Luna didn't confirm, that probably means tragic ends for some of them. He says it's the balance that makes the series stick. I think that if something characterizes the series, it is the depth it has in the portrait of its characters. Being the last season, you get to follow the path of all these characters that you met in the first. Many of them are not in Rogue One, and their stories have to be brought to an end. I think we knew that. Mm-hmm. I don't think you necessarily always want to hear that. But
yeah.
Like that means that Adria Arjona probably not going to make it.
Bix, goodbye.
Yeah. We know Andy Serkis from what they say is looks like he's coming back. He probably won't make it.
I just I want to see the scene.
Yeah,
I don't need to. Yeah, or them swimming or something.
Something. Yeah, but I'm trying to. Sarsgaard would probably be toast.
Yeah,
because he's got to be dead because
sure he's too powerful.
Well, yeah. If he wasn't, it's like that guy would be running the shop.
Right.
So he's got to go. And then I think that we're going to wind up seeing Ben Mendelsohn. I think Ben Mendelsohn as Krennic is if I said, okay, here's $1,000, go to Vegas and put it on one thing that you're going to win on, Ben Mendelsohn's going to be on this series.
Yeah.
He's especially now that he's in Secret Invasion.
Right.
The show. And yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah, he is 100% going to be in this show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's on set.
Yeah.
He's there.
He's there.
Right. And the character is so important in Rogue One. And a loved character, a loved villain.
Well, yeah,
because he was obnoxious in a good way. Mm-hmm. You know, he was that just driven by
greed.
Yeah,
greed and wanted Daddy to like him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I was just thinking, Daddy like me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know who you are. Where is talking?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's 100%. He'll show up now. If there's Gilroy also hinted that there'd be some other characters. I wouldn't mind seeing, everybody always says this, and I'm talking brief, one scene in the same way that they did, like, you know, that there's some great scenes with the conversation, like very what you were just talking about before, with the conversations they would have around the table, like the Empire. I would love for them to be having one of those big conversations about the rebellion, and Vader's there. with Tarkin. And it's brief. Like, Tarkin's the one, very similar to episode 4. Tarkin is there leading the whole thing, talking. And then Vader just has a couple lines, same type of thing, maybe choke some other F out, and then dips.
Yeah.
And that's all you see of him.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Yeah, I think that would be excellent.
Yeah.
I would love that too, especially when he's talking about balance, which I do agree. And it's interesting we were talking about how sometimes the balance didn't work for other people in Andor, which it worked for us. But I think that's what I love about the show is that they have these moments of deep dialogue and then they go into action. And it seems like the second season from where we left off is going to even have more action because they don't need those first few episodes to set up who Andor is.
Right. And I think I don't want it to be a cameo fest if it doesn't make sense. Like, again, Vader would make sense. Like, if Han shows up for some reason and they're like,
it makes no sense.
Unless they find out a way that it does. But it's like, but and I know I'm in the minority here. But for me, if you're gonna do Han, and don't do Han, but if you're gonna do Han, stick Anthony and Gruber in the scene, right? But put what's his face? Put Harrison Ford's face on him and deep fake him, or just do another actor and deep fake him and do an AI voice. You can't do all Aaron Reich. You can't.
Yeah,
he's not Han Solo. I know. John Hoey right now is moving around in his house right now because he hears something. He's not Han Solo. He's just not, especially right with Harrison Ford running around the joint right now still as old Indy. He's just too fresh in people's brains. And you just did this with Luke. If you did it with Luke, what? Oh, she wants to watch. So my daughter is getting the TV. She's been using the TV to watch some of her shows.
God, you guys, it was just heartbreaking. She said, "Dada." She got pulled away. It was actually like a really sad movie ending.
You have tears in your eyes.
I know. It really got me. I was like so upset. I just watched that. Dada.
She reached out.
She really reached out for you. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hilarious.
That was so sad.
She really loves this room now because to make you happy now, I just watched episode 4 with her.
Oh, you did?
The little one, first time she ever watched Star Wars.
Did she like it?
So her answer was incredible when I asked her that question. So she was here and she was watching. We were sitting. We took the 2 chairs and we sat over there. She's sitting on my lap and we had the surround sound. And Vivian has seen episode 4 a million times. So she's sitting there and at one point she was talking and Maisie looks at her and goes, "Shh." And she's like,
my girl.
She's locked in watching it. And then I said, "Maisie, did you like it?" She's like, "Yeah." And I said, "So you want to watch the next one?" She's like, "No." And I go, "You don't want to watch another one?" She's like, "I don't want to watch another one for a long time." And I go, "Well, I thought you liked it." She's like, "I liked it a lot." I go, then why don't you want to watch it?" She goes, "Scary." And I go, "Why is it scary?" She goes, "Lots of pew, 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 pew." So she said. And I was like, "All right, you're not wrong."
Oh my God.
Yeah, and when Vader came in, she was like,
"Oh yeah, I can see that.
You're a part of a rebel alliance and a traitor. Take her away."
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
that's so good.
It's really good. All right, but staying with this Diego Luna thing, the idea that what he's saying about Latino actors and what he's saying in general, I think he's right. There's tons of stuff that could have been nominated. Even thinking about some of the stuff that with Narcos or tons of stuff that had come out over the last couple of years, and so it is good. And all those people that were mentioned, whether it was Jenna Ortega, I like Jenna Ortega a lot, and we've talked about her. I think she's a superstar. I think she's got to be careful though. She's 20, and she's what's the words I'm looking for? Again, the wishing having the superpower. The things and stuff that sometimes she comes off as if it's like no, I got this handled, and it's like, I don't know if you have all that experience yet. You're awesome. You're really, really it seemed like what was the one about the writers? Did you hear about the thing with the chef? She basically kind of took over it.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
I don't know, whatever it was, but either way, so you have Jenna Ortega. and then what was it? Was
Selena
Gomez,
Pedro Pascal.
and Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
So those are all people that are very much in the running and could potentially win. And so that's having him hear that is one thing, and then the other thing, as we said, lends into the people who could potentially die and how it's wrapping up. And I like that it's 2 seasons and done, though. It means they're not going to push it.
And they had a plan.
Yeah, they had a plan.
Yeah. To your point, though, I was rereading some of my journal entries from 5 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 24, 25. I'm so glad that I wasn't massively famous at that age.
Right.
Being 20, I really did have that feeling. Not that she's wrong on anything. You know I love her. I'm just saying, like, you come in so hard because you're 20 and you have
the gusto.
It's awesome. Yeah. And you're like, what do you mean? Because I'm fighting for what's right, or I feel like what I'm doing is right, and it probably is. But sometimes, at least for me, the way I said stuff or did stuff, I was like, damn, Steph.
That's more the thing. It's not the actual thing that, like, you should be fighting for, what you believe in, what you're worth, how you just got to be careful in certain ways and how you say it and how it comes across. And it's a matter of anybody, man, woman, whoever it is. You got to be careful, because you look at what happened to, like, Katherine Heigl back in the day.
Right.
When Katherine Heigl was, and she was younger too at the time, when she was talking about, it was during, I think it might have been around the writer's strike, I can't remember, but how she just kind of disregarded the writers, and that hurt bad.
Right.
Because you just got to be careful. You can say it goes back to the conversation we were having in the beginning about the superpower. It's just like, I don't think there's anything that she is trying to get for herself that she shouldn't be trying to get for herself. It's a matter of, you just gotta be careful in a certain way how you present it, because you don't want to come off as, like, ungrateful.
Yeah, and there's also just a way to do business. I don't know the details of what she's been doing, but I just know that the way I was doing things, or the way I was viewing things, I would have burnt out if I kept going at this, like, put your hands up, let's go.
That changes, but that changes with age.
Yeah,
and it changes too. So,
now I'm like, I need a nap.
Because she's super talented. She's gonna be around for a while.
And people just love her.
Yeah,
which they should, right?
So it's Vivian's favorite actress.
Oh, really?
Yeah, loves her.
She like Wednesday?
Loved Wednesday.
I could so see that's a Vivi show.
Yeah. Let's see. Next one here. Oh, you know what? Before we do, let me tell you also, speaking of Vivi, and I wanted to also tell you guys about BetterHelp. We've been working with BetterHelp. So excited they're back with us. And after people in my family working with them, people on this show working with them, or talking to them, I should say, they're something special. Let me tell you a little bit more about them. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. I'm such a fan of BetterHelp. They've helped out people in my life. I am really excited to be working with them again. I was hoping that they would come back, and I'm glad that you guys have been using them as well. That's why they're back. And I'm so glad that we were introduced to them, because if you didn't know, it's really important for you to emphasize on yourself from time to time. It really is. Sometimes we're always thinking about other people. You don't think about yourself enough, and you have to, because sometimes you feel stretched thin. Sometimes there's a lot going on. You have no one to talk to. And I'm glad that BetterHelp allows you to do that. It's entirely online. It's convenient. It's flexible. It's suited to your schedule. So if you are thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. You just fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and then switch therapists anytime, no additional charge. So find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/bigthing. All right, guys, as I mentioned at the top with Chris, please talk to somebody. If you need to, concentrate on yourself, get BetterHelp, and again, use that code. So you're able to do it, please, and let me know if you did it. You don't necessarily have to, but if you need somebody to talk to, you're wondering, I need to talk to somebody, and sometimes, because that's one of the main thing is that you think, like, therapy can be expensive,
right?
And when you can go and you can talk to somebody online, and we're in such a place now in the world where we're a little bit more used to talking to someone on screen, that it's not as maybe you think back in the day, you might have thought that was like not inviting to talk to somebody on a computer screen, but we're so used to it that it's become a part, and BetterHelp has really utilized it in a way that has been super helpful.
Yeah, and you can do it from your own home,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool.
It's pretty great. All right. Now I'm going to get into the story that I wanted to tell Steph about. All right, Bad Batch, season 3. It might have already wrapped, Steph.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bad Batch. Michelle Ang shares that she got a crew gift, and they may have wrapped recording already for season 3. It's Grant Davis. The Bad Batch voice actress Michelle Ang has shared a crew gift for the show's 3rd and final season, indicating that she may have completed work on the series. Ang revealed on her Instagram page that she received a crew gift of Hunter's helmet suspended by a stand. Usually, such a gift signifies the end of a production for the cast and crew, barring the possibility that some additional material may be needed to record later. In the meantime, the animators will remain hard at work on the project. And there's the gift right there.
That's awesome.
Pretty good. I'll post that as well. And then it says, for your service in the Bad Batch. As of right now, we do not have official word that recording has ended for Ang or any of our cast members. But any updates is a welcome one. And Star Wars The Bad Batch is a spinoff of Star Wars The Clone Wars set in the aftermath. As of the 2nd season, here's a spoiler alert for anybody who has not seen the 2nd season. Ready? Good. Omega has been captured by the Empire on Mount Tantus, an Imperial stronghold where further research on the cloning seems to be the focus for the Emperor's greater, most sinister designs. And it's revealed that several of the scientists are there, like Omega. It's revealed that several of the scientists there are like Omega, opposite gender clones of Jango Fett, raising further questions about the nature of the Empire's mission and the means to accomplish it. Crosshair's also imprisoned there. Yes, I am. He is also imprisoned there due to his earlier betrayal of the Empire out of disgust for the mistreatment of clones, and as of yet unreleased celebration trailer for the new season indicates that the two will cross paths with captivity. I think that it's funny. I think I liked season 2 of The Bad Batch significantly better than I liked season 1.
In hindsight, yeah, which is crazy because the first few episodes I was worried.
We were ready to bail.
Right.
It was boring, and then it took off because it looked like episode Adventure of the Week type stuff for a while, and then there were a couple that kicked in. You're like, okay, if they can stay to that, but the last like 5 or 6 were solid,
Really great.
really good, because they tell the story.
Yeah.
Because once you're telling that story, and then so it looks like I think they 100% wrapped already, because you have to if they're going to get this out in time.
Yeah.
Because animation just takes a lot longer.
Yeah, and it's what everyone was able to work on
Yeah.
during the writer's strike, too.
Right.
If their scripts are already done,
Right.
they can just go in.
And they can just go and animate and do what they have to do. And so that's it. All right, let's shift focus a little bit and get to some news here outside of Star Wars. All right, speaking of strikes, actors now signed a letter. They are prepared to strike. Earlier this month, SAG voted to authorize a strike if their negotiating committee doesn't reach an agreement on a new contract with major Hollywood studios by the end of this coming Friday, Steph, June 30th. Then the other day, Fran Drescher released a video message with an update on the negotiations, saying we are having an extremely productive negotiations that are laser focused on all the crucial issues that you said are most important to you. We're standing strong, and we're going to achieve a deal. A lot of actors don't seem to be convinced, as Rolling Stone has obtained a letter signed by 300 actors and addressed to leadership and negotiating committees. The letter urges SAG not to settle for a deal that doesn't represent all their demands. The likes of Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, Rami Malek, Quinta Brunson, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Ben Stiller, Neil Patrick Harris, Amy Schumer, Amy Poehler have all signed the letter, which states, "We are hoping you've heard the message from us. This is an unprecedented inflection point of our history, and what might be considered a good deal in any other years, it's not enough. We feel that our wages, our craft, our creative freedom, and our power of union have all been undermined in the last decade. We need to reverse those trajectories. There are only days left to make a deal before the contract runs out, and everyone who signed the letter reportedly claims they are prepared to strike if it comes to that, even though it brings incredible hardships to so many that nobody wants. Issues in the negotiation circle around minimum pay, streaming residuals, health care, pensions, regulation around self-tapes used in the casting process, and concerns around the use of artificial intelligence. Back in May, the WGA went on strike after they failed to negotiate a deal with Hollywood studios. WGA members have been vocal about their concerns about working conditions across the industry. Now, this is one, and I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit more hopeful in this, but I think they are going to sign a deal by Friday. And I think that and this isn't right, but I think that the studios are going to feel like it's more important for us to get the actors than it is the writers. I feel that's the way the studios are going to feel, because there's there's other projects that you have that are already done that you can shoot with actors. You can't do anything without actors.
Right.
You can't promote anything without actors. You can't do shit without actors. So I think that's going to, by Friday, they're going to find out some kind of deal.
Yeah. It's so obnoxious that it had to go to that, but it's why it's so important to stand with people, and especially when you respect them, because there are people who just have more pull in the industry and in life than other people, and that's why it's important to do so. And I think what Amy Poehler, I think that was her quote, was saying is absolutely true. Like, this could be something that's so important and just stops it from going back, the industry just completely changing into a way that takes power from creatives.
Well, it's also the same thing. I mean, you look at it with same type of stuff that WGA is fighting for, and it's streaming residuals, as far as streaming residuals and AI and all that. I want to know what the question is, what the big issue is as far as for AI with actors, right? Is it voice stuff? Is it, because I've seen a lot of voice actors who are absolutely rightfully concerned, right? Because I'll tell you, when I had Joe Gaudette and Brian Monarch in here, and so you've seen their work. Brian is a comedian buddy of mine, but he does all the replacing Arnold into other movies stuff. All of his stuff goes viral. I'm sure you've seen the Titanic.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I want you to draw me like one of these girls, Jack. Look at my boobies, Jack. And then Joe does the voice of Arnold. So they were in here and they were talking about all of that. And then I was like, oh, I saw another one that you did that was like spot on Joe Rogan. Like, who did that Rogan voice? He's like, that was AI. Like, it's spot on. It was just took it and got it. And it's like, right now, the AI voice programs, we talked about it with like Vader, significantly better than using an 85-year-old James Earl Jones. It sounds 85 years old. They should have done it for Indiana Jones. Problem is, right now, the emotion isn't all the way there. It works for Vader because Vader's supposed to sound mechanical, right? Like Luke in Boba Fett sounded dry. It didn't have any emotion to him. So once they start figuring that stuff out, and it's a crazy thing though too, because you can use it. There's a movie I saw recently where a computer uses a voice to manipulate someone's voice, and it's like with AI, it's like, okay, let's say I type in a couple things, and I'm gonna go, all right, I have Steph. I've had enough on my show. I have enough of her voice. I can do this, and now here's what I need her to say. I'm gonna have her call Mike Kalinowski and say, hey, Mike, I don't want to work with you anymore. You're the worst. Don't ever come in here again. Your face is stupid, right? And then he's gonna go, that was Steph. She called me and said, and meanwhile you're watching Star Wars at home,
right?
And that's the scary part of it, of what that's gonna be able to do in general. People are already doing that kind of shit. But for actors, it's like, well, what do you need me for? You just gotta sign a bigger contract. I guess that's what it's about.
It's really scary. I feel like this is the problem with how we've just been brainwashed to be as humans in this world, where we're like, we want everything now, fast, easy, and at a low price.
Yep.
Everyone, consumers and business creators. That's how we are. And we've kind of lost this connection to art and just, as hippie as it sounds, like living with the earth. I saw this article about how the government has approved 2 different factories to make chicken that's all like based off the cells of chicken, but it's not real chicken. It's chemical chicken, basically. And people were like, screw this, like that's disgusting. And then one of my friends made a comment that's actually accurate. They're like, you're saying screw this until climate change happens eventually, and we don't have produce and food
you're
gonna need this. So it's actually, and it just feels like we're doing that with the film industry when we don't need that.
Because the tech is out there,
right?
And it's like, the tech is out there, and you're able. I mean, it's nuts. It's like, well, because you want to, it's like the perfectionist in everybody.
Yeah,
you want to make sure. Well, if I don't, Bruce Willis isn't able to make movies anymore. But hell, if I'm able to use a deep fake technology that I can use, I can get him to be 30 years old again, and then I can use an AI program to do all these lines as John McClane and get his voice from when he was 30 years old. And then I can use an AI program to do this and make it look like this particular thing and make it look like the 80s. Yeah, I want to do that because it's like as humans, like hearing myself say it, I want to see what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a new Die Hard movie like with a 30-year-old McClane. But it's like, yeah, but there's that argument of like, I think, but then the moral part of it for me is more so what I think SAG is going to be looking for. It's like, well, what's Bruce get out of that?
Right.
What's Bruce's family get out of that?
Yeah.
Like, is that just because you own the rights to the character that you can just do that? I don't think that's the case. You're gonna have to pay him, but you're gonna have to pay him significantly. And then the streaming is a whole other thing. It's like streaming services have to tell people what people are watching. They'll tell you when it's doing really well, but you should see it all of the time. The same way that when you click on a YouTube video, you see how many hits the YouTube video has. You should know how many hits a thing has, because that is going to tell you, well, why am I not getting paid for that?
Yeah. It just makes no sense. Yeah. It really doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I really feel like it feels like I'm watching kind of a Frankenstein creation if everything's AI.
Right.
It's just like you're bringing things to life because you can.
I know it's weird for me because it's like there's part of it like where I have ideas in my head, tons of ideas in my head the things I've been writing for years, like Shoes and Beef. Like, and we had this animator who worked with it, and we're putting that on the website on July 1st. But it's like there's also, I'm sure the animator as well, like his stuff, and if I was like, all right, you know what we're able to do? We can cut a lot of time if we put this stuff in using your animation, using everything that you did. Let's put it into this program, and here's the stuff, and here are the voices, and then it's done in like 10 minutes. It's like two things. Like, but the process of the creativity is not there.
Yeah.
But then there's also like, I don't have any time to do it.
Right. I know. It's just like one of these new debates that I feel you can go either way.
I know. And it's like, when we talked about, I forget who was on the other, I think it was Winston and Coy. We were talking about AI in general and art. And I think there was an artist who kind of commented back. He might have actually tweeted at me. And I don't think he was understanding what I was saying. I was talking about, like, we get to a place in life with a bunch of the way technology happens, and you're like, technology has replaced jobs forever, and it's going to continue to do it. Mm-hmm. But what I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying that it's just happens.
It is what it is.
Yes, for me, I'm like, it's just going to continue to happen. There's no matter how much you guys are fighting it, you're not going to stop it. You could benefit from it and make deals with unions and everything and get paid for it, but you're not going to stop it. It's just the way you're not. People don't want the computer craze to happen. Social media craze. When it's that wave and it's that big of a wave, you ain't going to stop it. Mm-hmm. And it's just too convenient for people. And I'm not saying, and that's what I was trying to say. The thing, I'm not saying that it should continue to go. I think that like, if it went away, I'd be like, I get it. Like, I do understand why people want it to go away, because it's like, even for me, it's scary. And AI could take over. My wife doesn't understand it. She's like, computers can't take over. I'm like, if a computer is able to think and able to program itself, we might not see it in our lifetime, but our kids will.
Right.
You know, and we might see it in our lifetime. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, they could turn off power grids.
100%.
And access to water. Yeah, to me, it just is, it's right there.
You look at Ultron.
Yeah.
Ultron was like, look at these assholes.
Right.
Fuck them.
Yeah, I hate these people.
Right.
And I get it.
You turn on the news sometimes, just like, and the computer was like, no more of you.
Yeah.
You're done.
Right.
I get it.
Enough.
Yeah.
You've been here for hundreds of years. What's good? You're still killing each other?
Hundreds.
Yeah, I'm saying as like a industrialization.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean,
with access to technology.
Yeah. But even thousands of years, people have been killing each other and trying to.
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah. Since the second they got.
I kill you.
That's the first thing I think
that
the cavemen said to each other.
Words, not mama or dada.
All right, there's a couple other things that we could talk about. Unfortunately, we got a short time today, so we'll wrap it up. Here. I wanted to, because Superman we talked about yesterday on. I talked about it on my this video. This is a short video that I did, but we're going to talk about a little bit more Roxy. We're going to talk a little bit more with Winston and Coy. So don't worry about that. We'll get to that. But yeah, Steph, where can they find you?
At Steph Sabraw and at the World Girls, we're dropping a new episode today.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys for joining me again. Remember, go on over to Katie's show, blah, 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 with Katie Sackhoff over on her channel. You can get Shoes and Beef, as I mentioned, July 1st, and the Capes and Cows comic book, July 1st. Go and join the website today, thekristianharloff.com. There are certain tiers there. You can get the things a la carte if you want. But thanks for joining me here today with Steph Sabraw. It's a big thing. See ya. Peace.